Aloha, guys. I'm in Hawaii with the beautiful Bridget Nielsen. I've scored the big time here. For any of you who don't know her, she's a huge YouTuber. She's a spiritual teacher, and she really helped me a lot during my awakening, so I'm very delighted to be joined by you today.
Aw, it's great being with you for a week.
It's been amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the best experiences of my life. Do you want to just talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Like the trip?
Yeah. Well, the idea is in these moments of awakening, like you're experiencing, we're all experiencing, like one of the things that happens is we feel alone, right? And then also we are kind of separated from the natural world and all these things. So I like creating these special times for people to come together that are like-minded, like-hearted, in really special places that raise our vibration, and doing activities that do that to just like break us open and take us to the next level.
Yeah, that was actually one of the questions I was going to ask you. Like, how do when we wake up find like-minded people? But it's these sort of trips that really get these connections, and worldwide connections that can last like a lifetime.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's one of those things you just have to you have to look and you have to put yourself out there, because I think it's easy to kind of just play like victim.
Yeah.
Because like
I'm all alone. I can't.
Yeah. Exactly. But it's not true, and there's people, there's like no country in the world that there isn't at least one other person, or if there is no one, then go to somewhere else. You know,
or maybe even create a group yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So what advice would you give to someone who's literally just waking up? Like, it can be very confusing, so much information out there. Like, how do you know what to look for and like what's going to help you like straight away?
Yeah, well, I think that there's, I mean, just like following intuition, you know, like kind of going down the rabbit hole of like what calls you, I think is helpful. And then finding, I mean, to some degree, spiritual teachers or like certain modalities that have been around for like a long time that you can kind of anchor into, because I find that when you're first awakening, it's just kind of like, blah, and almost like scattered and wonderful and out there. And so I think having some kind of like rooted foundational practice or lineage is really helpful.
What spiritual practices do you do like on a daily basis or weekly basis, and what would you advise to someone who's just starting? Because, you know, if you just get straight into like some hardcore yoga, it can be a little bit intense, right?
Yeah.
So like what would you say to someone like that?
To start,
yeah.
I mean, I think more, basic yoga. I mean, starting slow and sticking with it. I think whatever that is. So, I mean, meditation is just, you're inevitably going to have to start doing it.
That's what kind of leads to the awakening in the first place, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
So I think just mindfulness practices to where we can really start quieting the mind, because when we quiet the mind, behind that is so much activity and connection and like where true guidance can come from. Right. So mindfulness meditation practice is just kind of key.
Anything that's going to discipline the mind and keep it more under your control, so you can tap into your intuition.
Totally.
Cool. A lot of your videos are like really about raising your vibration, inner work, like self-improvement. What would you say about the shadow side of ourselves? Because we all have a shadow, right?
Yeah.
And if we don't acknowledge it, or at least confront it, it can sometimes consume us.
Yeah.
What kind of shadow work can we do to integrate it, to make it, work with the light side of us as well?
Definitely. I mean, I think the first place to look at what shadow aspects is what triggers you, what like makes you angry or upset, which might just be a person in your life, so there's like that which like kind of fuels you, which you can go towards and start to look at, which could be, trauma healing or just like real deep awareness, some kind of like coaching or counseling like around that. And then on the other side, those parts of us that are super numb, that we just don't even know that we're not aware of.
Completely unconscious.
Yeah. Which honestly, actually getting in really nice dialogue with friends and family, what are my blind spots? Because everyone can see. I mean, not maybe everyone, but like sensitive or caring people around you, they know.
Other people notice it more than you notice it yourself,
yes.
Right?
So it's kind of having the humility and like vulnerability to ask them and then see what comes and then start to move through it.
what I've noticed as well is another way to look at our shadow side is to acknowledge it in dreams.
Yeah.
Because this is your conscious coming to life, right? The stuff that you're not aware of that you're doing in your daily life shows up in your dreams.
Yep.
So how can we sort of interpret our dreams like that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's so many different ways. I really like the Toltec dreaming lineage, which is from Mexico. That was their original initiate school, mystery school, was dreaming.
Really?
Yeah. It's super cool. So Sergio Magana is like he's bringing all that wisdom back, which is really neat. So I like that because there's actual practices of like what's going on, what to do. Like it's fully mapped out.
Really?
Yeah.
Because when you first start getting into dream work, it's like, where do I even begin? Like,
yeah,
it can seem so like mosaic, like a montage, right? And it's just like there doesn't seem to be much coherency.
Right.
But if you look deeper, there actually is like a lot of meaning to it.
Totally. And I think, I mean, just to start writing them down.
Yeah, journaling. Right?
Yeah, start remembering them and writing them down, and that's a great place to start because then once you write it down, then you'll remember more of your dreams and you'll start to like become conscious and in this like new dialogue with your psyche.
Yeah.
So that's a good place to start.
And that's where lucid dreaming comes as well.
Yeah.
The more you focus on keeping memory of your dreams, the more power it gives to your dream itself, right?
Totally.
Yeah. I'm interested, but I hear loads of different things from different sources about Atlantis and Lemuria.
Yeah.
So we used to be a civilization that lived on an island, and we were very advanced beings.
Yeah.
And then things went to pot, right?
Yes.
Literally.
Simply put, yes.
And the island went down.
Yeah.
And what do we have to remind us of this? What can we learn from that period of history?
Yeah, definitely. Well, one of the things, I mean, I find that lesson, that karmic lesson, collected karmic lesson, very much so in the Atlantean story, where we had this advanced technology, we misused it, and then we totally killed ourselves, you know, and like disrupted the planet majorly.
That little thing.
Yeah, that little thing. But I find that that's really found in the manifestation of America and Europe and Great Britain right now, to be honest, where it's like, okay, what are we going to do with power? Like, what are we going to do as, like, nations, and especially the West having so much influence, you know, in the world? What are we going to do with this? And a lot of us have incarnated to figure that out.
Yeah.
And I've had a lot of past life recall from Atlantis, and, like, I feel that's, like, so close to, like, my heart and energy to, like, be really clean with that, you know, this time around. But I feel like the Lemurian energy, which is this kind of almost Eden-like frequency that we reached in a different civilization that is energetically still connected to the Hawaiian Islands, and many say, like, we're Hawaii, like this was Lemuria, the physical place. Yeah. Whatever it was, if it was or not, it's definitely accessible. Like the frequency of love and of unity and of peace. And so to me, tapping into both is really important, like to balance those two frequencies. It's like the Atlantean has like a lot of amazing power and technology, and that needs to merge with this like love and harmony, and the love and harmony, like, you know, so I find myself visiting both of those places that hold those energies. Yeah. And then integrating that in myself. And I think as we do that as a humanity, that'll be really helpful.
Definitely. The whole spiritual path is about remembering who you are, and that in turn will make you live a more fulfilling and more meaningful life, because you'll know your place on the planet. Yeah. So how do people get to know their roots? Like, you know, some people think they're Pleiadian starseeds, Sirian starseeds. Like, is it just looking at the star system and seeing what resonates with you? Like, that's a really great start. Yeah. Actually, is to just go out and look at the stars and like feel them, you know, and connect with them. And I think it's easy to kind of like almost like I don't know, trendy tarot card or something to just be like, pick your star seed, you know, and it's... I like the look of that one. I like what they're... Yeah, that one seems cool. I'm going to go with that one. And it can become kind of like an identity trip. But I think really connecting with the stars and then looking, like really feeling them and seeing what connects with you, and then using the star map
you know, like the app on
Yeah,
your
Andre
phone.
showed me that. Actually.
Yeah, and then being like, okay, oh, that's that one. Interesting. Let me work with that. And there's so many that we've come from that aren't just like the top 5 favorites or something. And that's what I want to expand into, is like really bringing down those newer frequencies from many different star systems, you know, to teach us. And so yeah, that's a great way to connect. It's just through dream time. And yeah, those are good.
Because we've all come from so many different star systems and, you know, dimensions. So this place must be pretty important. We've all come here to be here right now.
Yes. Yeah.
What do you see happening in the future, or what do you hope? Like,
for humanity?
Yeah, I mean, people are waking up, so that's a good sign, right?
Yeah.
So there's hope.
Yes. I mean, I think that right now we get to determine what that is. Like, I have thoughts and hopes, and also have seen visions, like hopes, feelings, visions of like the future, and I think it's completely determined by like what we do in our individual lives, which then impact what then the collective consciousness feels. And so I think that it can really work out. I mean, we're going to have to look at our collective shadow, right? Because we talked a little bit about shadow. So we're going to have to like look at Trump, you know, we're going to have to look at this shit that we've like created.
Stuff even in the past, like Hitler and all this stuff, like we have to analyze what went wrong, like why did he turn so bad? Like,
so it's like, what happened, what went wrong, taking responsibility for that, like creating something new, working together, you know, figuring out like the new solutions. So it's going to take like, again, I love how it all ties into a lot of humility, you know, and vulnerability from the male and the female in small groups figuring this out, or as a collective, like letting us, you know, heal and come together in a new way.
The key word there is healing.
Yeah.
We really need to start healing ourselves first before we can start healing the planet.
Definitely.
So if someone was like just had their awakening and they felt the calling to heal, like what direction would you point them in?
Good question. I mean, it's so
because I want to know this.
It's so case by case, because it's like, well, what part do you want to heal? I mean, like, I would start with childhood trauma. That's probably everyone's
before we get into past life stuff.
Let's just start with this human life, and childhood trauma is probably the best place to start, because without your inner child, you're not gonna go very far. That's the most sensitive and connected aspect of you, to then have that perception to connect with higher guidance. And so I think inner child is maybe the most important. And then from there, it's, you know, ancestral, past life, your own personal just ego, shadow crap, you know, so.
All that crap.
Yeah.
I think shamanic healing is quite good for inner child work, right?
Yeah, shamanic healing is great for many different things.
And the importance of healing the inner child is because of the innocence, right? When you're a child, you have this pure innocence.
Yep.
And they're so connected to their heart chakra.
Yes.
And when we live in that same innocence, then just like incredible things happen, right? Like our energy, our vibration, just like people just get knocked out by it, right?
Yes.
Like yours.
Yeah, it's just so helpful, and it's just so fun, you know? Well, that's part of it, is it brings the fun back into life.
Yeah.
And we're so serious. Like, think about adults versus kids. Like, children are innovative. Children are, like, connect with each other. They don't have judgments. So it starts to dissolve all that built-up crap. It's like plaque on, like, the human psyche, you know? And it's like that... The child is the inroads back to, purification and playfulness and kindness.
Our life is literally like a boomerang. We start off as a child, we become an adult, and then we need to come back to that childhood nature, don't we?
Yeah.
What are you looking into at the moment? Like, what is your main focus point, and what do you see as the next thing that's going to help people, basically?
Yeah, so for me, it's two things simultaneously. One, making sure that I continue to be as like pure and expansive as possible, so that I can like hold an energy for then other people to rise to their own occasion, you know? So that's like, I have to continue to do my personal work to make sure that like I'm of best service. So this year I'm spending a lot of time really going to the next level of my own spiritual development. And then in that, I'm launching like an online membership and then doing more of these retreats. And so bringing what I see is helpful.
Really expanding the community. Like,
yeah. Bringing like hundreds and thousands of people together in connection online. If people are going through crap or if they're having massive like breakthroughs, that everyone's like hearing that from each other and feeling and like assisting and balancing each other in it rather than being alone. So I think that community piece, and then also the actual techniques of like to go to the next level, both of those things are really important.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's it really.
Okay, great.
Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
You've really helped me in my journey. I really appreciate everything.
You're so welcome.
Thanks guys.